In this video, I'm going to be showing you the steps that I take to give my client a high top fade. And to kick this off, I'm going in with my long toothpick just to give myself an idea of the texture and the density of his hair, just seeing the consistency of his hair pattern and exactly what I'm working with to get an overall idea of the canvas. As you can see, it's not the thickest hair. However, I'm going to lift the hair off the scalp just so that I can give myself a clean canvas to start with, something to work with to lay everything down to its natural position. Ideally, the best option is a comb or a pick. To kick this fade off, I'm going in with a little different approach here. I'm going in with the number 1 guard with the lever completely closed, skipping to my 3rd step just so that I can go in and debulk the sides just so that I can see what I'm working with. Understanding that I'm going to make it to this part eventually. However, I'm going to start here just so that I can see what I'm working with. Now I'm going in with the first initial guideline, and that's going to be my lever completely closed with the T45 and Barbers clippers, setting in my first initial ball guideline right at the bottom of that vertical bar, and I'm dropping towards the back just to give myself enough space in order to complete a gradient transaction, transfer, or transition in this. And so I want to go up with my next guideline with the lever completely open as my 2nd step in this fade. And I'm going to just make sure that it's all down to that 1 desired length so I can keep myself consistent throughout this fade, going up enough just so that I can create gradiency. And again, I'm going in with that 1 guard with the lever completely closed. Again, to follow up, just to keep it as clean as possible and make sure that it's to that 1 desired length. This is that 3rd step that I used to start this fade, just to debulk. And so I'm following it up. And as you can see, I'm in that same area, just knocking it all down to that 1 length. Here I'm going in with my number 1.5 guard right after the 1. And as you can see, the motion that I'm using, I'm not actually going up into the top of his hair. I'm just using a flick out motion. And so I'm going off the shape of his parietal ridge area and his occipital bone, just allowing the clippers to do the work, using the heel of the blade, being sure to comb the hair back down to its natural position and continue to stay in that same spot and be consistent through and through without taking this fade up into his actual hair on top. I'm going to slowly feather my way into the hair that's on the top, the bulk. I want to keep that as dark as possible and comb it back down just so that I can follow up for going with my number 2 guard as I'm doing here. And I'm doing the same exact steps, going a little higher, and I'm flicking and feathering out a little more just so that I can create a seamless transition. I don't want to take this up into the hairstyle on top. I want to debulk the sides as much as possible while still creating that blended effect on the side of the fade. And ideally, as you can see here, you could start to tell what the texture of the hair is and how dense it actually is. And so now I'm following up. I don't need to go back down to the 1 guard. I'm going to drop down to my 1.5 guard here with the lever completely open, operating as a number 1 guard. Just skipping that step just so that I'm not overplaying my part, because the hair is naturally blending out itself as I'm going up in the guards. And so now that I'm working my way back down, I'm going to skip the number 1 guard and use the corner of the 0 guard or the 0.5 guard just to detail the lighter spots, slowly but surely, to eliminate that very bottom line and maintain the darkness at the top. I feel like the 1 guard would take off too much of the density at the top that I'm trying to maintain with this texture. With this texture, the ideal approach is less is more, and so I'm using less steps, but I'm still keeping the same exact system. As you can see here, I'm still using that 0.5 or that half guard with the lever completely open, just utilizing the corner of the blade or the edge of the blade. It may not look like it, but I'm only using pressure on one side of the blade, and that's just to manipulate those dark spots at the top and erase the line slowly but surely. Here I'm dropping down to the lever completely closed on that 0.5 guard. And as you can see, the line that I'm working at, I'm staying in that same pocket. I'm staying in the same exact realm just to create this bursted effect, just completely eliminating that 1 line. I don't want to push this up too high, but I also want to be effective. And so I'm taking my time and I'm playing it smart and using the edge of the blade versus trying to use the whole blade and push this fade up way higher than what it needs to be. And as I'm detailing with the corner of the blade, I'm just allowing myself to see imperfections and point out other things that's not consistent throughout this blend. And so I'm paying attention to the dark spots, developing that barber's eye. Here I'm going to drop down to the lever halfway with no guard, just in between the 1st and 2nd initial guideline, the primary line and the secondary line. I'm just working in between those in order to erase that very bottom line, but still not go over that 2nd guideline. And that's going in with the lever halfway in between, because the first line that I put in was with the lever completely closed, and the second one was with the lever open. And so now I'm halfway, and I'm nudging at the very bottom line on the corner of the blade, slowly just erasing the very bottom line. Here I'm going in at the very back and the very front of this fade, setting in the first initial guideline, but then I'm gonna follow up like I did the first time, just to debulk and skip to the third step, and that's to go in with my one. The reason I know how to do this and I know where I'm at with this is because I have a system that works for me, and so I know that this is gonna be my third step, so I'm gonna give myself enough space in order to get up 3 guidelines, adjust about 3 guidelines or 3 finger lengths in between this first initial guideline. I set the first initial guideline in the front and the back just so that I can connect it evenly and consistently throughout this fade, and picked up where I left off from the left side on his right side. And so now I'm starting to fade like a fresh, normal fade with a clean canvas to allow myself the consistency and the appreciation for a clean workspace to make sure that this is consistent through and through. My next step is to go in with the lever completely open as usual and go up about a finger's length, another full inch to stretch this blend out completely as much as possible without running it too high. Ideally, now I'm gonna set up my next or my third step and look at this as stairs or increments that I'm going up slowly but surely, incrementally into the top or the hairstyle on the top, the high top fade, giving myself enough room to go through each of the guards and stop at that number 2 guard. That's the number 1.5 right here, and I'm just being sure to make room from the last one and set up for the next one, keeping in mind the area that I have to use and knowing exactly what style that I want. This is a high fade, and so I want to be able to completely take this as high as possible while still maintaining a consistent darkness at the top of the fade, the very top where the hairstyle meets the fade. So I'm using the heel of my blade just to create that transition without making any hard lines at all. I don't need hard lines because the harder the line, the harder it is to get out. And so as you can see, it's slowly coming together, already blending out. Here I'm going in with the number 2 guard, and I'm just being sure to comb the hair back down, making sure that it's still transitioning and still smoothly blending into the hairstyle on top. Understanding the density, understanding that I have to be careful with certain areas because they may appear lighter than others. And also just taking my time, understanding my system and relying on my system to its full potential. Just being able to play this safe and play my part and allow the clippers to do their work. As we approach the end of this year and the beginning of a new year, 2026 is coming, and you may feel like you ran out of time or the year's over again without enough done, or you haven't been able to accomplish as much as you wanted to, or maybe you feel like you got a lot done this year. However, this is a time to be sitting and reflecting on what this year brought, or how you approach certain things and how you could set up for next year. So systems in life and in barbering is important so that you can navigate through without having to worry about certain things, understanding that with a system in place, things will happen that you may not like or may not go as you planned them to. So instead of just setting goals and setting mile markers for yourself in order to celebrate an achievement, just setting systems so that you can fall back on, so that you can maintain a consistent discipline throughout your schedule, throughout your lifestyle, so that you can maintain consistent growth. Whether you run into a problem or not, whether you get an obstacle or not, you can still fall back on your systems that work. Daily routines and daily habits to start doing it. And all the times, it's not even about just having habits to start or get in the cycle of doing this. A lot of stuff you need to just cut out from doing, stuff you're not able to do anymore just because it doesn't serve you anymore, or whether it's not ideal. So like, you can skip a guard here, you can skip a guard in your life and just skip some steps to where it's not benefiting you, and while you feel like you spread thin, really you just need to stop doing some stuff that's not serving you no more in your life. And with a system in place, you just eliminate automatically some stuff that does not add value to you or add to your goals in life or add to where you want to be at in the future or in the next year. But just set yourself up now for the next year. You can get a head start and just set it in place like a system that automatically runs. It automates, and so you have no reason not to hit your goals. And even though stuff will come in the way, and it may not always be on the deadline that you want, just understand that you have that system in place so that you are mandatory to win. It's mandatory for you to succeed. Here I'm going in with some holding spray, and as that's drying, I'm just gonna completely bald out the excess hair at the bottom, taking this fade to another level of gradiency, just to ensure efficiency throughout my haircuts and control my haircuts to the next level and take action where I can. And what I can do is make sure that I set myself up for success with this so that I could be on time for my next client, as well as give him a great haircut. And as you can see, I'm noticing other inconsistencies throughout this blend, and as I'm taking this extra hair off, I'm seeing darker spots that's standing out, and so that's what I'm doing here, to follow up and eliminate those darker spots that came more apparent as I took away the extra hair, as well as looking at the back to see how I can shape this to make it look more dense. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post another video. Also, you subscribing to this channel allows us to grow this channel by far way more than I could by just posting these videos. And so I just want to be able to help more people, and by you subscribing, it allows these videos to get pushed into the algorithm so that more people can see these more frequently and more often, so we can all grow and learn together. Also, feel free to comment down below any takeaways or any constructive criticism that you may have in order to help each other. Here on the front line, I started by punching in the vertical bars, just setting in reference points for myself in order to get a solid foundation, the outline, the framework, just so that I know where I'm stopping at the darkest point, but also keeping his hairline up as far forward as possible. As you can see, same steps here, and the reference point that I use is about towards the end of his eyebrow, but more so in towards the middle and the end. And you can find like a sweet spot in between there somewhere, so not too far in, but not too far out. And so I use the eyebrows as a reference point, typically, and the darkness of the hairline. And I start in the middle here and just work my way out to each side, just to continue on that consistent line and just meet at the top of the vertical bar. And the way that I do it is I find the lowest point but the fullest point on the hairline and set in my first initial line. And then from there, I slowly but surely lift up the trimmer and take exactly where I left off and follow off with the other end of the blade. And so as you can see here, I'm slowly, incrementally just moving towards the one side. And so the only time that you're actually using the full blade is when you put in the first line. And so you work your way out using the left side of the blade if you're moving to the left side. Or you use the right side of the blade when you're moving to the right side, and you just pick up where you left off. And using the corner of the blade just to work through the corners and make sure that you create that pointed effect and make sure that it's not rounded. You want to slowly but surely just tap at that corner to get it as sharp as possible. And you may have to comb it back and make sure that you go back over. Here I'm knocking the mustache down to a number 1 guard with the lever completely closed, going against the grain because he likes his mustache lower. He's going to cut the chin hair off completely and just keep the mustache. I notice you guys comment and leave comments on what tools I use. As you can see, I'm using the Barbers trimmers here. And as I said before, the T45 and Barbers clippers. I do have a review on the clippers and the trimmers on my page. If you have not checked that out yet, go ahead and check that out on my channel. Also for 2026, I'm also setting myself up for success and being able to set systems in place in order to maximize for the new year. And with doing so, I've already started, and I'll continue to eliminate certain things, people and places that don't serve me or benefit me off my palette, so that I can maintain my focus and my consistent growth rate in order to see constant progression, because we as people naturally thrive when we feel like things are going in a good way or going well in life for us. But also keeping in mind that when things are not going as I planned or as I wish for them to go, that I can't change everything. And so I keep the controlling variables in mind, but also allowing the things that I can't control to be teaching moment. Here with the razor work, I just want to stretch the skin with the opposite finger angle to raise at a 45-degree angle and pull it back to the natural line, just taking the lineup work to another level of precision and precisely hitting these lines slowly but surely, just taking my time but applying the right amount of pressure. As you can see, this is the final results, and if you like this video, be sure to like this video. Let me know what you like or don't like about this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. My name is Kel, and I'll catch you in the next one.